Oh my goodness. Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another installment of Bigfoot Encounters Live with Bigfoot Society. Someone in the chat, please let me know if you can hear me right off the bat. We'll start with the roll call here in a minute, but I need to make sure that people can hear me first. So perfect. Thank you, Bigfoot 17. All right, let's see who's here. Man, we got 57 people already. Good to see you all. First off, we got Pamela Dotson in here. First off, patiently waiting in Maryland. Good to see you. Mark Paul is here. Have some great updates. Good to see that, Mark. We got David. Good evening from Oregon. Good to see you. Mark, thank you for being a YouTube channel member as well. Melanie, thank you for being a YouTube channel member as well. Great to see you. Thank you to Night Ned Photography, Squatch in Maryland, for becoming a YouTube channel member. Every subscriber helps on the road to becoming full-time. Tyler Paul, how's it going? Can't wait to talk to you. We got an interview set up. Thank you for setting that up. We got John Boy. Great to see you, John Boy. And I know you got some weird stuff going on, my friend. We got Rhonda. Hello, everyone. Connecticut in the house. Good to see you. We've got Memphis Song with the green check marks, as always. Gerald, good to see you. Mr. B-Dubs, great to see you as well. Erebus is here. Hippie 007 from Southern Indiana. You've got some weird stuff going on down there, my friend. I heard that from my interview with Carter Bouchard. You've got some interesting Bigfoot things going on in there. We've got Mr. Squatch and Holler, Roger, here. Great to see you, Roger. Make sure you're subscribed to his channel as well. He puts out some great stuff, and he is helping out running the chat tonight. Thank you, friend. We got Brian S. What's up, pal? Alan Lassiter, good to see you, friend. AZ is here. Did it start yet? Nope, it's starting right now. Let's see. Laura, good to see you. Man, so many people in here. Larry Sharp, hey, everyone. Great to see you, Larry, and thank you for being a YouTube channel member. And I know you're in the Patreon, too. Pete, how's it going, friend? We've got Stephanie Ray. Great to see you. Thank you for being a YouTube channel member. Look what AZ's doing, sharing this with my 5,300 followers on Twitter. That's what we want, is people to share this right now before we get cracking. This show has been getting really popular in the last few weeks, so I appreciate y'all being here. Let's see. I think we are almost caught up. Oh, Gene's here. Great to see you, Gene. Paige is here from New Orleans. Awesome. We got Leanne Kennedy. Let's see. We got Little One Nair. Good to see you. Nicole Davis. Man, there's so many people in here. Good stuff. We got Seth. Yes, Mark, I'm aware that you have some wild stuff going on. And more to come on that, my friend. Everything in its due time. But man, I can't imagine going through what you're going through right now. You got some good people helping you down there. But guys, let's get into it. If you are new to this channel, this is the Bigfoot Society podcast. I have a podcast where I talk to people about their Bigfoot encounters every week, multiple episodes. So make sure you subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell icon so you don't miss anything. Make sure you're subscribed, right? It's on all major podcast platforms. Good stuff. Good stuff. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy y'all listening. But tonight, every Saturday night at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, we have open phone lines. If you have a Bigfoot encounter, I have a phone number that you can call in. Spirit Messiah, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a YouTube channel member, my friend. But I'm going to put the banner up right now. So in order to call in and share your encounter, you have to fill out a You have to fill out a guest release form. So the new way we'll be doing that is you fill out that guest release form. It's super easy. There's a link in the description. It's also it's bit.ly bit.ly/ Bigfoot form. And then at the end, it gives you the phone number to call in. It just makes things a little bit more streamlined, right? So this will be live on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. Also, it's recorded for the podcast. So not promising it, but your call will probably be on the Bigfoot Society podcast. So there is a guest release form that is used in order to have you call in, right? So got that all out of the way. Phone lines are now open. And let's see, we've got Yeshua. I see your email. I'm going to check it out after this. We'll try to get you squared away. I don't know what YouTube is doing, but I think some weird things are going on with your account here. So let's get caught up with the chat here. Hey, we got Bobby Younts here. Sorry so late. Great to see you. We've got Jeff Mart. Hello from the Texas Big Thicket. That is a squatchy area, my friend. Oof. Hippie 007 is in rural Marysville out in the country. Ooh. Carl P, what's up, brother? Great to see you, friend. Yeah, Squatch and Holler. Thank you all for stopping by. Oh man, we got a full crowd here. And the thing about this show, if you haven't been on this show, if you haven't been watching this show yet, sometimes we get calls right off the bat. We get calls right off the bat all night long. Sometimes we're just chatting. We're chatting back and forth for a while. We get a call, then we're chatting a lot. You never know what you're going to get, right? But either way, it's a good time. It's like if you go looking out for Bigfoot, it's a good time, even if you don't get any action. Let me make sure that my Google Voice is all set up and ready to go. Perfect. Let's see here. Hike with Mike. Hello from the land of the skunk ape. Awesome. Susan by the Creeks down in Waco. John Boy, the form is simple. I didn't have a problem, and I'm a backwoods hillbilly. Hey, buddy. All right. Thank you for that encouragement. Let's see what we got. Yeah. So there's Nicole is saying, I saw that Mount Rainier epicenter TikTok. Lived in Seattle for 13 years. Before I was privy to Squatch, little did I know they were in my backyard. Exactly. It's pretty crazy. Let's see. Yeah, I was hoping Ripplebrook Estacada. Timothy Lake is quiet this week. No Squatches, please. Yeah, hopefully you have some quiet nights there. If you don't, you know who to talk to. But I hope you're not wanting that to happen, though. But we'll see what happens. Laura, while you're waiting, what are your Memorial Day plans? Well, it's pretty low key. We are going to go down to the farm and probably have a cookout. So hang out with some relatives, all that good stuff. But yeah, while we're waiting, what is everyone's Memorial Day plans? Let me know if you've got any cool stuff going on. Extra bonus points if they are related to Bigfoot. Let's see. Hippie 007. I had to quit going in a certain area. Ooh, that's interesting. I would love to know more about why you had... Is that Bigfoot related? Did something happen with Bigfoot? Let's see. Brian lives in Venice Beach, so Memorial Day is always a day at the beach. There you go. Let's see. I'm going to refresh the email. Yeah, Squatch and Holler, thanks so much. Don't forget to hit the like button, everyone. It really helps the show. Absolutely. Larry is gonna grill out tomorrow. There you go, man. I love it. We got Carlos Wise here. Hello from the eastern shore of Maryland, Salisbury. Good to see you, man. Alan's celebrating his wife's last chemo treatment. That is incredible. I know we've been talking back and forth about it. Alan, I'm so excited that she's at that point. Laura is not doing anything special, but reading a lot. Hey, that's awesome. Hike with Mike, barbecue chicken, and then afterwards using the coals to make more char cloth for fire starting. Cool. Bobby's working at the USPS. Hey, all right, we gotta keep that going. Thanks for your help with that. Hippie 007, more Dogman werewolf things. So you were having some Dogman issues? Ooh, that sounds interesting. Larry Sharp, grilled out last year and recorded tree knocks by the house. Whoa, that's wild. Squatch and holler. Yeah, we'll be dodging storms here. Ain't that the truth? I mean, it's been wild in Iowa lately, which is where I'm from. But thanks to everyone who was checking in. Last week, we had some wild stuff happen. We missed a big tornado, missed us by about 20 minutes. The town had some serious, just wiped out the town 20 minutes west of us. We also, man, the other Friday morning, 4:30 a.m., we had a tornado warning. So we all got up. We were like, what's going on? And we were hiding out in the laundry room. It was crazy, but no problems, thankfully. Leanne Kennedy, spending the weekend with New York granddaughters. There you go. Nicole, I wonder if there's going to be an uptick in Class A since people are vacationing for the holiday. That's a great idea. More people are going to be going out into the woods, into state parks. More things will be seen. Absolutely. Mark, the form is this website right here, bit.ly/Bigfoot form. If you fill that out on any, website, you go to like where you go to Google stuff and you just type in bit.ly/Bigfoot form, like in the URL, you put that in to go to a website. That'll bring you to the place you need to be. And let's see. Hike with Mike. Hit that like button, folks. You got it. Let's see. Yaz, I work retail, so tomorrow will be a busy work day. Missing the Indy 500. Absolutely. John Boy, I'll be making a batch of moonshine. Hey, there you go. Hippie 007. We have a Bigfoot family here. An old man Bigfoot. He's at least 12 foot tall. No lie. Whoa. That's wild. Let's see. Man, that's crazy. If there's a lot of people in the chat right now, over 100. Great to see you all here spending your Saturday night with Bigfoot Encounters Live. We're hanging out. The way that this works for the new people is that if you've got a Bigfoot encounter you'd like to share, you can go ahead and call in live. I've got my phone set up here. All good to go. However, in order to do that, you do have to fill out a guest release form so that you can get the phone number. So you have to go to that right there, bit.ly/Bigfoot form, fill it out, just saying, hey, I'm aware I'm being recorded. It could be used for the podcast. It's live on YouTube. It's live on Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. Until then, we are hanging out, having a good time. Dave Olds, good to see you, friend. My cabin almost got hit in those storms. Lots of huge oak trees uprooted and shattered. Oh, man. Yikes. Oh, that's actually, that's a good idea. Let me type that in. Hey, actually, I can do that. Hold on, guys. Roger, can you pin stuff? I can't remember if you can pin stuff. If not, I should be able to do it real quick, but that would probably help. Give me a minute, guys. I'm going to pin a comment. Here we go. All right, here we go. All right, message pinned. We're back at it. Here we go. Let's get John Boy. The one I saw in 1979 had the body mass of a Brahma bull. Whoa. That's wild. Oh my goodness. The live show is the virtual place to hang out on a Saturday. Absolutely. Squatching, no sweat, dude. I got it pinned for us. Bobby, we could use some good rain in Florida. No tornadoes. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, we're hanging out. We're hanging out, having a good time. We're about 20 minutes in. If anyone's got a Bigfoot encounter they would like to call in with, and let's see. Just got to make a quick message here. Let's see who we've got. Bobby Yance. Yeah, my new favorite. Uh-oh. I've got it set up when someone fills out the form. I think, let's see what we got here. Oh, okay. All right. Cool, cool, cool. Let's see. David, I love this show. Hey, I saw you being interviewed last night, David. That was pretty cool. I also saw the Bigfoot Society patch on the back wall. All right. Hippie 007 is going to sign the form. Be right back. All right. We are, I think there's a few people working on getting the form filled out right now. We're just kind of hanging out until then. Let's see. Bigfoot 17, don't need any more rain here, but unfortunately under a flood watch all day tomorrow, let alone an afternoon chance of supercell development. Ooh, yikes. That sounds pretty crazy. Let me check. Where was David interviewed? David, I can't remember. What show were you on, man? Can you put that in the comments where you were being interviewed, and then people can go check that out? I just remember thinking, oh, that's David. That's cool. That's right. The not so guys, there's this newer interview show on YouTube that is great. It's called the Not So Perfect Bigfoot Show, and it is so good. Everyone needs to go over there and make sure you subscribe to her channel. I love it. It's such a great show. If she keeps going, she's going to rock it. She's already rocking it. So, yeah, that's another up-and-coming channel. Absolutely. Uh-oh. We got, let's see, what's this? We have, I'm getting all the emails. There's a few people that are filling out stuff right now. I can tell. So now we just gotta wait. We gotta wait it out. Let me make sure my Google Voice is set up here. Should be set up. Yep, it's set up. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Hippie 007, when you signed it, it gave you the phone number at the very end after you hit submit. So that's the phone number that you So yeah, guys, when you fill that form out after you hit submit, there's a sentence that has the actual phone number in it. So yeah, you call that phone number and I'm here ready to go. So it's kind of like a choose your own adventure thing, but I know you guys can do it. John Boy did it. John Boy got it rocking a few weeks ago. John Boy's got some weird stuff going on in his property. My goodness. All sorts of stuff. Way more stuff other than Bigfoot. John Boy knows. Absolutely. Let's see. While we're waiting for the first person, and again, guys, you got to fill out the form. You hit submit, and then there's a little sentence that says the phone number. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do it myself real quick. So you click next. You have to type in your name. You click agree to the sentence. You hit next. You hit submit. And it says, here is the call-in phone number. And then you call in that phone number. Boom. There you go. Hey, all right. We got Shelly is an excuse me. Shelly is a new YouTube channel member. Thank you so much. 111 people in the chat. So for people that love looking at numbers that repeat, it's 111. It was 111. All right, Hippie 007 is going to call in about 5 minutes. Hey, we'll be here hanging out, friend. We are not going anywhere. That's right. John Boy heard me talking about him. All right, we're waiting for that first call. Guys, there's a lot of cool there's a lot of really cool things coming up. And in case people don't know, usually when I start talking about festivals, that's when people call in. The first festival I'll be at, if you want to meet me this year, is Monster Fest in Canton, Ohio, put on by Small Town Monsters. I'll be doing an episode of the podcast live. So Hippie 007. So you have to fill out the form, and then after you fill it out and hit submit, there's a page that says, thank you for filling out the form. The phone number to call is ... So that's how you get the phone number. Yeah. So yeah, first one is Monster Fest, Canton, Ohio, end of June. It's going to be a good time. Going to be a great time. We've got 120 people here just waiting for someone to call. Such a wild thing. People are just waiting. There's no guarantee that anyone will call. It would help if I had do not disturb off, though. Here we go. All right, let's see. Hi, this is Jeremiah. Hello. Gonna have to call that one back. Let's see. Guys, give me a minute here. We've got some potential tech issues, of course. Why wouldn't we have tech issues, right? Keep talking in the chat, guys. You guys are rocking it. All right, let me try to call this person back. Okay. Here we go.
Hello.
Hi, this is Jeremiah.
Hi, Jeremiah. This is Candace, and I'm in southern Indiana, and I was putting stuff on. I had to make sure I was off the YouTube site and everything, so I wouldn't get feedback so that you could hear me. I've lived out in the country all my life, and...
Okay, perfect. Sorry, Candace. I was just going to say, if someone could let me know if we hear Candace, and Leanne just did. So, Candace, let's rock and roll.
Okay. Well, my name is Candace. I'm 57 years old. I've lived out in the country my whole life. And I've traveled around, lived in Florida, North Carolina, Texas, Kentucky, and Indiana. And let me see how I can explain it. Where I grew up in Georgetown, Indiana, my first encounter was when I was like 10 years old. And at first, me and my dad thought it was like a little calf or something, you know, just nursing off its mother. And I had climbed a tree, and I was like, Dad, what is that? And what had happened, it stood up, and it looked at me and my dad, and it turned around and walked off. It was like a juvenile. It wasn't really big or anything. And so that's where my first encounter was. And my dad had just always said, you keep quiet, you don't tell nobody nothing, you know. And I come from a really big family. There was 7 of us children. And so, I mean, we were always out running in the woods and building forts and clubhouses and everything else. And you just never really heard about Bigfoot back then. And I guess as you go through your childhood and stuff, you just kind of forget about those sort of things. And then when I was 12 years old, that's when I had my really face-to-face, up-close encounter. And that I knew that it was real stuff, and that Bigfoot was real, and there wasn't anybody that was going to tell me any different. I just know that when I was growing up, I was just told that those are things we don't go tell other people or talk about, because then people think we're crazy. And over the past few years and stuff, I had moved back to southern Indiana and everything, and I lived kind of out in the country. And my husband and I, we were on our way taking all the back country roads going from it's considered Clark County, Indiana, but it is like Charlestown, Indiana, going all the way. The Ohio River kind of surrounds it and stuff. I'm trying to think how I want to say it. We were going to Scottsburg, and it's what's called Highway 3. And I kept having this really bad feeling, you know, that something was amiss or whatever. And we got to a stop sign, and it was all cornfields and stuff in the area we was. And I told my husband, I said, oh my gosh. I said, look over there. And he stopped the car, and we both got out and looked. And he looked like an old man, but he had to be at least 11 to 12 feet tall. I mean, he was massive. He looked like, I'm not going to say like real buff, but he was real, like, he was big, but he had red hair. And he was staying in at this time, it was like in November. So he was standing out in the middle of that cornfield, and he was cleaning himself off in a water puddle. you know, and I was like, see, I told you that I had seen a really tall one. And everybody kind of looked at me like I was nuts. Well, that there proved that I wasn't. And then the place that I've moved to, where I've been living now, is between Charlestown, Indiana, and kind of like going towards Scottsburg, Indiana. And it's like a little bitty town. You know how like if you're going through your towns, it'll say like Otisco, or it'll say, you know, Marion, or it just has all these little towns inside of a town. Going the further out you go out in the country. And where I'm at now, there's a family of them, and we was out there camping and had the tents and everything. I want to add too that I have pictures of these things. I want to say, I don't want to call them an animal, because in my heart I don't feel that they are. And if they wanted to hurt us, they could have. They've had so many opportunities. And I'm not saying that they're all good. I know there's good and bad in everything. But it's got to the point where it went from us being able to be out there in those woods and camp and stuff like that. That's when we seen something up in a tree. Well, I was back there by myself first, and I seen something up in the tree, and I was like, what is that dark thing up in the tree? And it looked like it had itself wrapped around the trunk of the tree, but it was up high up in the tree. And I was like trying to take pictures of it, trying to figure out what it was. And I thought, well, maybe it could be a baby Bigfoot, and that's their way of hiding themselves. And if you come out this way, the forestry service and stuff like that, they'll tell you, oh, there's not this and there's not that, but oh yes, there is. And it just seems like, as I've gotten older in life, it just seems like they are coming closer and closer to where you live. You know, they will go through your trash. And I know I might seem like I'm all over the place, but I've just had a lot of experiences and encounters, and not all close up. I mean, when I go down the road a ways, understand that. When I go down the road a ways to my cousin's house, you can hear them go whoop whoop from one side of the road to the other side of the road. And where she lives is like on 10 acres back there, and it's almost like a moat goes around it, because there's creeks and everything all through there. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You're good. I let people talk a lot. I found that's where the good stuff comes in. But I do have some questions as well, Candace. This is all super interesting. Have you ever talked to your neighbors to see if they're seeing things as well?
Yeah, several. I mean, the neighbors are spaced out far apart, but pretty much everybody knows everybody. Yeah, they've seen stuff too. They've had things happen around their houses. Their trash has been gotten into, and when I went back into the woods and stuff, you'll find trash bags back in the woods. You know, like they've been tore open, and not whatever's taking them out of there. You're not talking about like a little bitty, 2-pound trash bag or something like that. This whatever's doing it has to be able to lift those bags and carry them, and be able to shut the lid back to the trash can. And I'll tell you this, one time I was putting scraps out and everything, and I'd put them out a good ways away from the house and stuff. There was like these 2 trees bent over, and I was putting scraps out there for, just the animals or whatever. Because when I was a kid growing up, my parents, because they had so many kids and stuff, we always had 2 or 3 gardens. And my dad, I always noticed he'd make like a smaller garden by the woods. And one time I asked him, I said, why are we putting a garden here? He said, this feeds the animals. That way they stay out of our garden and they have their own garden. And I was like, oh, okay. So I've just always like kind of done those sort of things. And you know, I'm just a country girl, you know, born and raised, you know, backwoods and stuff. And it got to the point where now if there's not quite a few people with me, I'm not going camping or anything in the woods.
Sure.
The one thing that, and another place is in Greenville, Indiana too, and I'll tell you about lost it there because I was on a friend of mine's 110-acre farm. I went and stayed there, and there was some very, very, very dark stuff. I'll never go back there. I'll never go back, step foot on that land ever again. And I've only seen it the one time. And the reason I said dogman werewolf is because that's the only way I can describe it. Because what I seen, I'm telling you, its ears, I have drawn a picture of it. And when it noticed me and I noticed it, we've been growled at by it and everything. I seen the red eyes. And I'm going to say, I was in the medical field for 39 years and I'm retired. So I know about body mechanics and all these sorts of things, right? So this thing that I seen that looked like a werewolf, its ears were more on top of its head instead of to the sides. And its eyes, okay, the baby one I seen, its eyes were solid white and they were slanted. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to put this out there. I got pictures of a lot of these things that I'm claiming that I've seen this. And I haven't just always been by myself when I've witnessed this. There's been other people with me. And I'll tell you something. I shared my pictures with who I thought somebody I could trust that, you know, claimed to be in the Bigfoot community and stuff like that. And I want you to know, every one of my pictures, even on my backup, my email, my phone, everything got wiped. Everything I had got wiped.
Wow.
And yes, I've been trying, and this has been just probably maybe about 6 months ago, if not maybe 5 months ago. And I had some pictures that would, and they weren't all, not all of them were fuzzy pictures. You know how everybody says, "Oh, here we go with
I gotcha.
blob squad,"
Right? Yep.
And stuff like that.
Yep.
No, I had really good, clear pictures.
Wow.
Some of them I don't even know how I took them because I was in such a state of shock and panic that I don't remember taking the picture. I've had lost time in the woods also.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Roger has got a good question I wanted to ask you real quick, Candace. Do you feel like all these things are they gravitate to you?
Okay. Well, let me answer that question honestly.
Okay.
Now listen, I'm going to say yes. Yes.
Okay.
But with that being said, I'm a God-fearing woman.
Sure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do drugs. I don't drink. I don't even drink. I don't do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in my right frame of mind. There's not anything wrong with me.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people will say you're delusional, you're seeing this or that, or what you snorting, what you smoking, what you doing, you know, was you drinking? No, none of that stuff.
Right.
I've always been in my right frame of mind.
Good.
This is the kind of stuff that it's not nothing you want to play with. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Yes, ma'am.
I will tell you that it's not nothing that you want to play with. And see, the last time that I was camping and stuff, we was out on about the backside of 10 acres closer to the creek, and had a bonfire going and all this, and it sounded like, and I mean there wasn't nobody else out there, but it sounded like a man and woman were talking.
Mm-hmm.
And my one cousin, she come up from Paducah, Kentucky. She'd never been camping or nothing, okay? And she's like, do you hear that? And I said, yes, but you have to be very, very quiet and don't speak. And she's like, why? And I said, because that's not a real man and woman. And she's like, what do you mean? I said, well, you know, I talked to you about Bigfoot and stuff, things that live in the woods. And I'm telling you, you just got to be still. And I mean, she was terrified, but as they got closer, you could hear them snapping, breaking, cracking, you know, tree limbs and stuff like that. But when they were further away, it sounded just like a woman, just like a man. But then when they got closer up on us, because we had that bonfire going, but we had got inside the tent, you know, because of the sound and stuff. And we was just more or less, you know, praying. And I was just like, just be real quiet, be real still. That they got up to our tent and they started pushing down on it. And this tent that we had belonged to another cousin, my other cousin, and it was like one of the I don't know, it was an older type tent that had like the metal posts. I mean, it was huge. It had like different rooms in it where it had zipper walls and stuff. It was huge. It was massive. And so they started pushing down on that tent. And I mean, it scared us, yeah, you know, but I was just like, I just started praying and saying, you know, in my mind, because I feel like how people talk about the mind speak, because I've had the mind speak where they spoke to me. And when they were pushing down on that tent and stuff, and like I said, I went into prayer, but I was like saying in my mind, we're good people, don't hurt us, go on about your way. And then I heard it sounded like the male voice, it sounded kind of really gurgly, and then all of a sudden the female let out this scream, and I'm not lying, it sounded like she said, no. You know, like maybe the male was telling her, hey, let's mess with them a little more, and maybe she just didn't want to and said no. I'm not really for sure, but that's the feeling that I got. And I just kept telling my cousin, I said, just be real quiet, you know, whispering to her, real quiet. And I just kept praying, and trying to like mind speak to them that we would be out of there in the morning. Just, we're going to sleep. Just leave us alone. And they turned around and walked off, but they was out there for a good while. And you know, it's not that I'm really afraid of like the Sasquatch. I am to a certain degree, because, you know, you have those that are rogue, and I mean, you know, I think the more that you go in numbers, but I will be honest with you, they know your intentions when you come into the woods. They know if you have a good heart or a bad heart.
Yep.
They do know all these things. They're highly, highly intelligent. And, you know, everybody says, oh, well, you need to produce a body and blah, blah, blah. You know, they have the proof. There is proof out there. And they've already been doing not just the mitochondrial DNA, but they've been doing the nano DNA on them. Like the nuclear, it's nuclear DNA. And it still does not show the father side of the DNA, but it'll say the mitochondrial DNA is of the female, you know, of a human female. It's human. Comes back.
Right. It's very, very interesting stuff. Candace, I had a question for you about how you said they were coming around your home as well.
Yeah.
What's the closest do you think they're getting to your home?
They just walk right up out of the back of the woods back here and come right up to the window. They just come right on up to the window. Yeah.
Have you seen tracks?
Like, you don't think that? So, yes. Now, I have found tracks. Yep. I have found tracks. I found, I'm going to say what would be the mama tracks. See, that's another thing. I had pictures of tracks, and I had pictures of that werewolf footprints too. And I'm telling you, they're massive. It is so massive. And then like when I was living in Charlestown, Indiana, okay, there's these houses over by the woods and stuff. And a friend of mine was living over there, and she said her neighbor, there was like 3 or 4 neighbors right in a row there, and then there wasn't no place else, and it was just surrounded by like where the park and all that stuff is, and they made a dog park down there. And this thing, they found footprints that come up out of the woods, and the footprints was on their front porch, their back porch, going up to their windows and their doors and stuff. And they had taken pictures and everything. And they had asked my friend, do you know what these are? And she said, no, but I know somebody that will. And so she brought them to me. And she said, can you look at these and tell me what you think they are? And I said, well, I'll tell you one thing they're not. They're not Bigfoot. I said, those look more like the werewolf footprints that I've seen. Yeah. This thing done the spider crawl. It done a spider crawl. And I will say this. I know there's a lot of people probably going to listen, and I'm telling you this right now. I know where there's a burial site. I cannot tell you what's buried there, but I can tell you that one of them is like 6 feet long. Then there's a couple small ones. Then there's one like 7.5 to 8 feet long. And they're in the woods, but they're not far off a road. There's actually like a parking lot you can park at and then walk into the wood line. And that's where I seen the one doing. Now, I don't know if them are guardians of the woods or what they are.
Candace, just be really careful how you describe what's buried. I don't want the stream to be kicked off YouTube. I'm serious.
Okay. Yeah.
I want you to keep going with the story, but certain words will trigger this to be shut down.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're talking about like an animal graveyard or whatever.
Okay.
But anyway, me and there was a man. He had his dog, and his dog was like a bloodhound or whatever. A beagle and bloodhound mix or something. But anyway, I got down there in those woods, and I was talking to the guy, and he was ex-military and stuff, and he was telling me about his tours and this and that and the other, because I come from a long line of military family. And so I told him, I said, you know, there's things back there in them woods. You better get your dog, because it'll kill your dog, because a certain part of the woods is really, really bad. And I'm talking like whatever's there, I cannot go there. Like I could take somebody and show them, but then I wouldn't be able to stay there. I would have to get out immediately. I don't know. It's almost like they know who you are. It is so hard for me to explain it. But anyway, I took him to holler for his dog. He's like, well, I'm not going in there. I'm not armed. I said, well, I'm not armed either. He said, well, you show me what you're talking about. And while I holler for my dog. So we went to the area because where his dog went there's a creek right there too. So he's hollering for his dog, and then I'm showing him the little places and stuff. And he's like, oh my gosh. He said, huh. And he bent down and he pulled up some fur, some like hair, fur, whatever you want to call it. He said, huh, we better get out of here. And I said, yeah. You know, I mean, he just pretty much talked to me about a few things that he experienced. And I showed him things that I was experiencing. And he's like, oh, yeah. He said, I would never go back here unless I was armed. And so anyway, yeah, but that's been going on for quite a while. And I've had experiences. I never had fear really until probably starting in 2017. You know, like I could go in the woods, I could go camping, I could go anywhere and stuff like that. And I never really felt threatened or anything. And then when I was where I used to live, I was going in those woods where I found all the stuff I just told you about. And it took me, I guess, from like 2017. It was pretty hot and heavy until 2021. And then that's when I left, and I was like, oh, I got to get away from this area because it's so bad. And there's other people around there too that knows it. And the ones that don't, I feel sorry for them, you know, because people just look at you like you're crazy.
Yes,
I've often thought about making a sign and putting it out there, you know, for people to see and say this is like a Bigfoot area or something. I don't know. I had a cousin that her husband, he was interested in stuff. And then when I told him about the area, he said, oh, well, that's not enough to do anything in. I said, oh, that's what you think. Because I have found like, I don't know, tunnels and stuff like that, like dug out underground and stuff, where I've seen things going in and out of those too. And those tunnels are all along a creek bed, and you would never know they's there because they put trees and brush, and they build a lot of things underground.
Wow.
Like nesting area. Yeah, they're like nesting areas. Some of the ones that I found instead of the teepees, well, see, there's like, and these trees are massive. They, once I kept going back there all the time, they put up great big X's. They took two of the biggest trees back there and pulled them up, roots and all, and made a big X. And I guess for me to stay the heck out. And then I just found a bunch more of those X's too. And they wasn't there before. But this other place I'm talking about, yeah, it was pretty life altering and stuff, you know.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because I've always known. It's like you know that you know, is all I can say.
Absolutely.
And for those that don't know, because I mean, I've talked to people too that are like, I'm going to kill one if I see it. No, you think you will.
You'll try, but you won't.
Well, let me tell you something. they're fast. They are so fast. I don't think anybody could outrun one. Maybe in a car, but not on foot. You know, and if they want to get you, they'll get you, and if they don't, then they don't.
Well,
I think
the thing is even if you were to get one, there's going to be other ones right along with it that are going to get you. There's no getting out of it.
No, there's not, because they run in packs and stuff, and you know, and what concerns me more than Bigfoot is this other stuff that's out there. Because now I know when I first went out to my cousins that lives out towards like Otisco, Indiana and stuff, we were out there one day, was walking on their property, and she wanted to take this deer trail and go down to her creek and stuff, and we were walking alongside the deer trail, and I just so happened to look up, and I seen like it was cloaked. It looked like it was cloaked, and I'm gonna say, like, you know the movie like Alien versus Predator?
Sure, yep.
Have you seen that movie?
It's kind of like wavy looking, yeah.
Yeah, it looked just like that. Like, like I could see the silver. I could see a silver outline, and I kept telling my cousin, "Stop! We can't go this way." I said, "Don't you see it?" She's like, "No." I said, "Look, follow my finger," and I kept pointing, and she never really seen it like I seen it. She said she felt a heaviness or uneasy. But she never really seen it. But I seen it. You know, and I guess maybe not everyone can see.
Roger's got a question as well. Have you ever seen one run?
No, not full stream or anything.
Yeah.
I've seen them jump. I seen one. Okay. When I was 12 and we were building a clubhouse back in the woods, there was 4 of us, and my friend Teresa seen it first, and she had walked down over an embankment, and we wasn't maybe not even, I don't know, 1,000 feet into the woods maybe, and we was building a clubhouse. Actually, her brother Tony was building a clubhouse, and we went back there, and we had my little sister with us, and I told her, because Teresa's like, "Come here and look at this. Something's peeping out from behind the tree." And so I go down there, and I'm looking, but I don't see anything. And she points, and I follow her hand to where she's pointing, and all of a sudden, that one, it had a lot of hair, and it was a blonde with red, like blonde, like what you would consider a strawberry blonde, but it was kind of like a strawberry color with blonde and reds in it. It looked like it had been groomed, you know, like it didn't look dirty. We didn't smell anything. But you know how, like, if you watch a ballet show, watch ballet, and you'll see them pick up the girl and she'll extend her legs out real far. That's how this jumped. It squatted down, and when it come back up, it jumped, and its legs were not, like, it didn't jump like you would think how the Hulk would jump on TV.
Right.
This jumped, and its legs were extended, and when it landed behind the other tree, there was no sound. And it kept getting, and it was going from tree to tree, getting closer to us. And by this time, Teresa's brother Tony had come down there. He seen it too. And first thing he did is said, "Run." And so we all turn and we take off running. And of course, I have to grab my little sister and drag her with us. But yeah, that's like the first time I ever seen one jump. But yeah, they can jump really far, and they can jump really high.
Do you remember?
Like they can jump.
Sorry.
Huh?
Do you remember any details of the face when you had that like really good face-to-face encounter at that time?
Yeah. Okay. The one when I was 10 years old. How high up in the tree I was, what I was seeing, and how I watched it stand up. It had jet black hair, and really, I just seen a side profile of it, but its skin was black. And then the one that I seen when I was 12, his skin, I'm gonna say he, because a lot of them I think are male that have like come around me a lot, but his skin was kind of gray, like it looked like gray leather.
Okay.
And then the other one that I seen really up close, okay, and I don't mean no disrespect to any cartoons or anybody out there in this world, but you know the cartoon, Mr. Okay, you know the one, Mr. Magoo?
Oh, yeah, sure.
They used to have on TV?
Classic, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, his face, you know the way he squinted?
Yep.
He always squinted, and the way his nose was. Okay, the one that's real tall, like 11 or 12 foot tall, his skin was like, he was white. His skin looked white or kind of pale. And his face was all, when he looked, his face was all squinched up like that.
Wow.
And he had red hair. Yeah, he had red hair. And then the werewolf thing, well, it was black and gray. The baby one was solid black, the one that had the white eyes, and the eyes were slanted. But the big mama one, let me tell you, I seen them eyes go, and the eyes were golden, like a bronze or a copper, with like yellowish gold looking. And if you shine a flashlight and they light up on them at night, they'll glow. Oh, wow. But her eyes went from that to red. She had red eyes. Yeah, and I'm telling you, it's just, and when they growl or they do their sound, it will vibrate your whole body.
That's interesting. Okay, let's get into that. So you actually feel it in your body? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I have often felt like they can also make you have heart trouble.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I would start having pain on the left side of my body.
Oh dear.
My left arm and in my chest, or they can make you have breathing problems. It's some kind of sound wave or some kind of wave or something that they do. But I do know, yeah. But I'm just wondering if the dens or the ones, the tunnel things that I found, I just wonder if that's not more the werewolf that's doing that and not so much as Bigfoot. But I do know that they will build the ones that I seen, they were real long too. Like, okay, if you know how if you take a tarp, if you tie a string from tree to tree and you put a tarp and it makes like an A-frame teepee, kind of like a tent. Mm-hmm. That's how they do it, but they do it low to the ground. And they stack the tree limbs up to where you don't think nothing of it. And a lot of times, like in the forest or even like not that far off of a forestry road, people will, like say you pull over off to like a lot and you're going to go hunt this farm over here or something, and you're going off the main highway or the main road or a side road. A lot of times the first couple 100 feet, and you'll see mounds, or you'll see a little dirt hill, and it looks like somebody took a bulldozer and kind of dozed up the dirt and stuff's grown over it, because some of those other things I was telling you about that I found in the ground, they had Easter lilies on them. Mm. Yeah. And I figured I was in a really bad place when I found that. So, But, you know, a lot of people don't talk about southern Indiana.
No.
They talk more northern Indiana.
You're the first
But
person
I'm
I've ever
telling
talked
you,
to.
from southern Indiana.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people won't talk about it around here. There was another guy that was real big on YouTube. I don't know what happened to him or where he went, but he lived in Jeffersonville, Indiana, and he was going to all the forestries like Clark County Forestry and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he was putting them on Facebook, or not Facebook, but on YouTube and stuff. And I was listening to him, and he just all of a sudden disappeared from everything. That I'd ran into the man and had talked to him, and he said, yeah, he just went about 3 miles back into the forestry when they went camping, and he was back there with his dog. It was just him and his dog, and his first encounter, I think, was at the Ferdinand Forestry, and I think that's more north of where I'm at, and yeah. Because it's a lot of rolling hills. See, in Indiana, where I'm at, is rolling hills and valleys. That's why they call it the Ohio Valley. And we have the Ohio River all the way around us. I mean, you can go to different spots. We got, there's like Buffalo Trace Park. And that's in Palmyra, Indiana. Then there's Hardy Lake. And then there's the Ohio River that surrounds everything all the way into Corden, Indiana. But you know, there's a lot of, it's all woods, it's Indian Creek. There's so many resources for them to survive, you know.
Wow.
I mean, yeah.
Candace, this has been just a fantastic chat. I could talk to you for hours, but I do want to, there's a few other people I think trying to call in. But man, I think we need to talk again. Can you send me an email at bigfootsociety@gmail.com just so I have your contact info?
I sure can.
Maybe we can chat again.
Yeah, we sure can.
I think there's more that we can talk about for sure, but it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, well, I could probably talk more freely because I know I have to watch what I say.
Exactly.
But I could probably enlighten you. But yeah, I've had experiences throughout my whole life, and the only one that really worries me and bothers me and well, I had to learn. I will tell people this is one major thing. Even though that we have fear, you have to let all that fear go, because that is the first thing that's picked up on is the fear. And I mean, we have a right to be afraid because there are things out there besides Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Sabe, whatever you choose to call them. There are other things out there that are far, far more dangerous and worse. You know, that I think, and I will say this, they really get annoyed a lot when people like hit the trees and hoop and holler and all that kind of stuff. If you just go camping and play music and have a campfire, I find that it's not just that they're drawn to me, maybe, but I find that when you're just being yourself and doing your normal thing, they come around a lot more.
Absolutely.
Than what you realize.
Oh, yeah. Yep. They're curious. They're very curious.
Right. And the ones that go out hitting the trees and doing a lot of stuff, and I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to do that, but I'm saying they already know you're there. You know what I mean? They already know.
Yeah, Candace, we got to talk a lot more on an actual interview, I think, for sure.
Okay. And I have a lot of Native American heritage, too. My father was Native American.
I'm not surprised, to be honest.
Yes. Yeah. I'm Native American German.
Yep.
And I think a hint of Irish in there. But if you met me, you'd say, oh, yeah, you look Native American.
As this
or at
is,
least that's
this
what
is
people
fascinating.
tell me.
Candace, we're gonna be in touch. Send me an email, okay, please.
Yes, I will. I will do that.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Ooh. That was an intense first call. My goodness. The phone lines are open for those that are new, and we almost have 200 people in here. Thank you all for hanging out on your Saturday night. This is Bigfoot Encounters live from Bigfoot Society. Yes, Squash and Holler. Y'all hit like, please. Thank you much, friend. If you've got a Bigfoot encounter that you'd like to call in with, phone lines are open. You do have to go to bit.ly/Bigfoot forum. And then after you fill that out, it'll give you the phone number to call in with. I'm going to check my Google Voice here. Okay. So I know that I believe a few people have been trying to fill out the form. I could get the emails. Let me check it real quick. But yeah, you all... Let me take off Do Not Disturb. Okay, Do Not Disturb is off now. Didn't know I had that on. But yeah, if you've got a Bigfoot encounter you'd like to share live, be live on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and it will be recorded for potential use for a future episode of the Bigfoot Society podcast. You can go ahead and you can call that number that you got when you filled out the form right now. But yeah, let me get kind of caught up with the chat here. Let's see who rolled in here. We got Shalimar in here. Good to see you. LAZEn BLAZE. I can see Mount Adams and Mount Rainier from my hilltop ranch. Ooh, you must have a beautiful view. That's beautiful territory. Hike with Mike. The Green Swamp is known for skunk ape sightings. Absolutely. I've got an interview coming up with Marie Dumont from Florida. Releases this Monday, and we talk a lot about the Green Swamp. It's a good one. Let's see. Yeah, we got 200. Yeah, that's a record, I believe. Absolutely. It's coming up on 10 o'clock Central Time, about 9:45. We got plenty of time left, though. We're just kind of hanging out, having a good time in the chat. If you want to call in and share your encounter live, you can go to bit.ly/Bigfoot forum. Fill out the form. It's super quick, but make sure you hit submit. And then on the very end, the very last page, it says, thank you for filling out the form. The phone number is, and then it gives you the phone number. So it's kind of like you're on a quest. You gotta fill out the form in order to get the phone number. I'm double checking a few things here. Let's see. Heather Turman, good to see ya. Yes, love this live. Absolutely. Nicole, that's right. Stories deserve to be heard. Absolutely. We got Daniel Kennedy here. Hey, I'm glad I caught the live show. I'm glad you did too. Michael is here. Florida represent. Absolutely. Yaz is saying Mount Adams area has these weird flying creatures too. Whoa, that's weird. Like a large pterodactyl. Whoa, I've never heard of that. That's pretty cool, though. Rocky Top, and I see what you did there. That's awesome, Jeremiah. Absolutely. Guys, let's take the time. If you are enjoying this, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit the like button, please. Hit the bell so you don't miss the next one. Share this with your friends. Let's see if we can get more people in here. Maybe there's some people that'll come in that have an encounter they can call in with. If you like listening to Bigfoot Encounters, you want to make sure you're subscribed to this channel. But also, if you listen to podcasts on Spotify or on Apple Podcast or anything like that, look up Bigfoot Society, and I come out with multiple episodes a week. A lot of episodes. You will never run out of stuff to listen to. We're past 440 episodes now. It's wild. Let's see. Okay, BJW says, I live in Edwardsville, right next to Georgetown, and I've lived here all my life. I'm 52. I can't vouch for this woman's story, but she's telling the truth on Sasquatch being here. I've known since 5. BJW, if you've got stuff that you want to share, you're more than welcome to call in. You just have to fill out the guest release form. It's bit.ly/Bigfoot form, and then at the very end, you'll get that phone number to call in with. Good stuff. Double checking everything here. Let's see. Yep, cool. Let me make sure the Google Voice is still rocking here. Still good to go. Oh, all right.
The voicemail, press 2.
Hi, this is Jeremiah.
Hello, sir.
Hi, who is this?
This is LAZEn BLAZE.
Oh, hey, LAZEn BLAZE. Thanks for calling in, man.
Are we live currently, sir?
Yes, we are. So just be advised that this is live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter,
Yes,
all that stuff.
I'll watch my tone if you don't mind. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, just the language.
I'm gonna put my headset on, so I'm watching you on YouTube. Copy. So
Sounds
I'm gonna hook up my headset, so maybe I can watch the stream while I chat with you for a moment.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I've been watching. I kind of seen this stream like last night, I think, or yesterday, or anyway. Yeah, I'm all into Bigfoot and orbs and Tic Tac and everything.
You've experienced anything out there? You're out in the West
I have
Coast, right?
Stories. I live in a hot zone.
Mm.
How's my volume and everything? Do I need to turn it down for you, maybe?
It actually sounds great. You're welcome to share whatever you would like to.
Okay, and I'm way open to questions also. I mean, that's part of the communication here.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, just bear with me. I'm currently kind of multitasking for a second, but yeah, people said tell the stories. Well, I said I had stories, so.
So can you tell a general area of where in the Pacific Northwest you're at?
I like to call it Triple Rainbow Valley, Middle Washington. I'm right here in the Yakima Valley area. Yeah, Middle Washington, kind of. Right below Smells Hole was kind of what I had written in the chat.
Okay. Right
below it, south directly. And, you know, that's a good story if nobody's heard it. It's a long story.
That's a long story.
Interview.
Yeah.
A lot. It's about 6 hours almost.
Absolutely.
Combined.
So,
okay,
how about this?
Still trying to get. Oh, I got to turn on my headset. That's why I'm not hearing
Go ahead. Yep.
That helps a lot. You won't hear me though. I'm just listening, monitoring your stream. Much better. I hear myself now. Good. I'm still trying to get settled here after
You got it.
I'm caught up.
You got it.
So I'm a ex-Army. I'm currently on a hilltop ranch overlooking a military base, etc. We'll just leave it at that unless you have other questions. 20 miles, 25 miles south of Mel's Hole directly, as the crow flies. And I've seen pretty much a lot of things. The story from the interview has been told, and I was actually, you're not going to believe this one, because I got so many stories, I don't even know where to begin. You want to start with being chased or followed by a orb, tic-tac, white light down the Yakima River through the canyon, coming from below Mel's Hole through the canyon, because you got Ellensburg, and there's a canyon from Ellensburg to the Yakima area. It's about a 20-mile canyon, Yakima River Canyon, they call it. It's an actual highway. It's an old highway north, but they built a new modern highway just to the east of it, a few miles. It's a standby canyon highway road when they shut down the main highways for any reason. But anyway, me and the wife, we were young. We had a 3-year-old daughter approximately in the back of the extra cab Nissan 85 4x4, I believe. We were pulling a tandem trailer flatbed with all of our home belongings on it, because we were moving back out of her brother's house with his wife, moving back to the Yakima area. So we left at night because, it's just easier to drive at night, no traffic. Truck's all loaded up, tied down, it's tandem axle deal, like I said before, and off we go. It's probably midnight or something. Easy cruise, probably about a 40-minute cruise, taking our time. We get about halfway into the canyon. Let's just speed it up. We're cruising along. It's about a 50-mile cruise through the canyon, top speed, with taking exception for all the up and down hill road and corners, because you are cruising through a canyon right along the river and stuff. Sometimes you gotta go up a little higher. There's a dam in the middle of the canyon, but before we get to the dam, we're halfway in. We're three-quarters. Correction. Let me slow it down. It's such a trippy story. We get about a third of the way into that canyon. It's clear skies. Cruising along the river. Everything's cool. All of a sudden, I kind of notice, hey, honey, what's that light over the river above the trees, right above the tree line? I mean, above the trees, so probably 50 feet in the air, 100 feet. It's hovering over the river in tandem with us. It's following side by side with us. I'm doing 50, 45 miles an hour. Okay. And it's just following us. I'm going, what the heck is that? What the heck is that? It's following us right alongside. We're just continuing driving. I just continue driving, and we're just checking it out. I eventually get a little ways into the moment, and I tell her, hey, honey, roll down your window so I make sure this isn't just a reflection of my gauges. It's so bright, though, it can't possibly be. Yeah, I won't go outside at night. It's crazy here, okay? I live in a hot zone. You'll understand if you know my stories. Anyway, I was reading chat. Pardon. So she rolls the window down, and I'm looking across. I'm not going that fast. I can look across. I'm actually probably slowing down by this time, freaking out. And just to let you know, back in the day, I never traveled, unarmed. So I have a feeling a lot of my stories have a lot to do with why they've left me alone. Anyway.
You okay?
Trying to recompensate. Yeah.
Okay.
Creepy though. Okay, so we're listening there's no sound coming from this craft. It looks like an orb, a tic tac. It's the size of a Volkswagen. It's bright white. It's brighter than the brightest white light flare you can think of, in your eyes. And our distance from the river and this object constantly is no more than like 100 yards. The highway flows right along the river. And I'm just going, wow, this is really weird. I've been through a lot of weird things, so I'm not totally, I haven't lost it or anything. Like I say, I feel pretty well protected in my own means.
Mm-hmm.
So we just keep cruising, checking it out. She's watching it. Like I said, silent, brightest light. It kind of imagine the light being like a street light in a light fog. How you get kind of that pyramid down to the shine out of it. So the light was kind of coming down in a pyramid type beam from the object, but the object itself was bright AF, bright as the sun, but it was white light. So after she rolls the window down, we hear it's not making a sound at all, still standingly following us along the river, and we're on the highway, 100 yards away, this craft. Next thing you know, deer are just crossing all over in front and behind me. I'm slowing down like crazy just to stop and avoid a collision with the deer. It's a herd of deer. Next thing you know, during this, my rear tandem driver's side tire goes passing me, bouncing across the highway next to me. There's no traffic. This is late at night. It's a canyon, two road highway, one way each way. I'm going, what the hey, honey? This is really wild. I got my kid in the backyard, behind my wife, just sitting there in her car seat, and we're moving. We're just going for a normal drive. It's supposed to take 30, 40 minutes, and we'd be at home. Okay. So I have to stop because my tire just went buzzing by me during the deer event. And mind you, orbs still sitting out there over the river. I grabbed the tires across the highway on the bank, rolled all the way up there, and I make it back, throw it on the back of the axe on the flatbed trailer with all the rest of my stuff. Get in the vehicle, start heading off, get down the road a little ways, and then, the thing just disappeared. It just vanished. Didn't see it anymore. Nothing happened to us other than what I just described. I might take a break. That one, I thought for sure we were goners on that one.
Wow.
Did that sound like a good story?
That's very, very intense.
It brings tears to my eyes.
But I can tell that you're extremely affected by what you experienced. Right. That I'm just thankful that you were able to share that. Thank you. Do you have any activity around your house that's been going on?
Yes. Sir, oh my God. Do you want to hear about New Year's Eve, this last New Year's Eve, sir?
Sure.
That's the most recent object.
Okay.
Okay. We're celebrating. We're sitting here playing PlayStations and Call of Duty and stuff in the living room. It's 10:35 p.m. New Year's Eve. I'm used to this stuff. I see it all the time. I've been on this property for 20 plus years now, 24 years. 24, 5 years, 25. Okay. New Year's Eve. Okay. There's a light fog over the valley because that Yakima River runs right to the east of my property. And whenever there's the proper weather conditions, we get fog here.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing flies in the fog, am I correct, sir? I'm going to ask you a question. What flies in the fog?
I mean, something that can see pretty good, I would imagine.
something with some good thermal optics or something. I mean, some real high-tech technology. Yeah. Because at a low altitude, of course, too. Okay. So it's foggy. Your visibility is less than a quarter, well, my goodness, not even a quarter mile, hundreds of yards, a few hundred yards, because I'm on a hill, and I could be looking over the fog bank below me, actually, just to describe my situation. So it's New Year's Eve, 10:35-ish p.m. I get up, and I'm always looking out my view window in the living room, and I notice, well, it's pretty cool, foggy. Oh, and fireworks have been going off every hour since about 9 o'clock regularly. So out here, it's wild, wild west, so they shoot mortars off and stuff. So, you get the huge fireworks stands, explosions all around my area here. I mean, right next to me and stuff. I digress. So I'm figuring, okay, that's part of a possible explanation to the story. I'm looking out the window, get up, taking a break, looking out the window, checking out the fireworks and everything, waiting for New Year's Day. I'm looking up at the fog, and I'm looking east towards the firing center, the Army Air Base, and Listening Post Research Center. That's a story in itself. You must ask me that. It's not a secret because you can see it from the highway's rest stop above, so I'm not displaying anything that couldn't be disclosed on anyone's effort. And I trained out there all the time for years. I digress. Back to the story. It's a fireball orb. This is the story. That's the title of it. My ranch was hovered by a fireball orb at least the size of a beach ball, possibly as large as a Volkswagen Bug. It was coming from the river area. I got one more hill over here, small hill before the river in front of my south view. And it was approximately, I'm going to say 500 feet high in the fog. And I seen it kind of doing an east-west rotation back and forth, a very short distance, probably quarter miles as far as the sky is and the distance I was viewing it from. And I'm watching it, I'm observing it, I'm going, gosh, that don't look like a flare or a firework. And this event lasted for 5 minutes, so it's a long story, technically. And so I'm watching a fireball orb. It looks like the sun. You can imagine the sun close up in the satellite views or whatever, but it's in the fog. It's glowing. It's a fireball, and it's doing a back and forth, kind of almost a crescent back and forth. And this object's starting to get closer towards my ranch. In the fog, I'm thinking, it's not a flare. It can't be nothing other than what I know it could be. It's doing the rotation, and it's just getting closer slowly towards my area. So now it's probably between me and my brother-in-law. He's on the opposite hill. There's another hill. He's on the opposite hill from what I'm looking at. And it's in between me and his property, which is only about a mile's distance. I'm looking at it. It's coming towards me. It's coming towards my property. It's in the fog. You can't really see anything other than the fog, and I can barely see the lower ground of the valley, barely. It's approaching towards the deal. Now it's probably like 500 feet in the air, maybe only 400 feet, 300. You can't see any farther than that anyway, but it's so bright you can't miss it. No sound. I'm watching it from my window, clear view. I'm going, okay. I'm telling my battle buddy, hey, he's sitting here partying with me. You got to get up and look at this. And at that time when he's getting up to get up, I said, I got to go outside and look at this out on the front porch. So that's what I do. Like I said, it's a long event, kind of. I go outside and I'm looking at this thing. I tell him to get out here too. I'm listening, see if I hear any sounds. I don't hear anything other than regular background sounds from exploding ordnance from the the celebrating New Year's. This object never left my sight unless I turned my head this whole event. It stayed there. So now, I'm out on my front porch. It's the middle of the night, 10:40, 45 by now. And I'm listening. That thing ain't making a sound. I'm looking at it directly, and it's not that far away. It's a couple hundred yards. It's bright. Can't judge the size, but it probably wasn't bigger than a Volkswagen, but could have been as small as a beach ball. Quiet. Okay, so now it's almost like it's like a couple properties south of my property, and it's up in the air. I can see it, and the thing starts like doing a circle, a couple circles maybe, and then it kind of comes to a stop, and it hovers there. It hovers there for like a minute. I'm telling my battle blaze, see, I told you, dude, it's real, man. Unbelievable, huh? You ever seen that before? And he's going, he doesn't know what to say. He's never seen nothing like this. And
Right.
I haven't really either. This kind of an event. Like I said, I'm telling him, hey, dude, nothing flies in the fog except orbs and tic tacs and stuff. So this thing's hovering. I'm looking out my window right now in the area, and it seriously is only a couple properties away. Straight up, your vision isn't much because it's foggy. That thing sat there for about a minute, minute and a half. Okay, now here's the coolest part. That stupid orb slowly, it took about a minute, went straight up, straight up through the fog. And the light, I could tell it was going straight up because I could see it perfectly through the fog. And the light just started getting dimmer and dimmer as it went up, and then it was gone. That was it. That's the end of the story.
Wow. That is intense.
That's a good one, though, seriously. I mean, that one, that's an unexplainable fireball at a couple hundred foot or a couple hundred yards.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
LAZEn.
Now, mind you, like
Yeah.
I said, I don't go outside alone.
Right.
I can't because I'm afraid I would have disappeared years ago if I was to.
Yeah.
I keep trying to figure it out. It's kind of haunting me. I don't know if it's because I'm a critical thinker or what, but it's like I have too many events in my life's path. My life's path is, it just dictates such a strange, I mean, I'm a war vet and stuff, you know, and
Right.
I mean, I flew over the Exxon Valdez back in '89, the day it happened, coming back from
Wow.
Korea.
Really?
I've been to the Gulf, Desert Shield, Desert Storm,
Yeah.
and I've seen stuff over there, dude. I've seen stuff on guard duty, but I think the real thing to LAZEn BLAZE currently is his location. Because I'm 25 miles south of Mel's Hole. I overwatch a military base with a listening post and research facility or whatever. It's on Google, except for you can't see the satellite dishes because they wipe those off.
Right.
You have to go up to the rest stop if you want to see the mass array of huge, hence listening post, facility, research center, government. I think it's a dumb, actually.
I wouldn't be surprised. Have you seen any
Now,
Bigfoot
you wanna know
activity?
what's just east? That's my Walla Walla story, Cannon camping trip. The Cannon Valley, Now, but just I'll go right back.
Sure.
The facility over here, past the facility just east of the Yakima or the Columbia River, because it's all desert from me to the Columbia River, and it's a government property. It's like Area 51, let's just say that.
Okay, sure.
Then you cross the river, and now you're in the Hanford Nuclear Facility area, which goes for another 20 miles or 30 miles, where they built the bomb for the World War I. So that ties into the Project Bluebeam story, which would blow your mind bigger and better than the orb story I just told you.
That's a whole.
I never will figure this one out.
That's a whole crazy story for sure. Yeah, that is a wild one.
And I still got the Bigfoot story, but let me just give you. We can touch on it later if you don't have time. But let me bring this up. If we ever talk again, sir, and you have given me the opportunity to, I appreciate that. It's nice to get things off your chest.
Absolutely.
I got it on my channel, to help get it off my chest and kind of leave my story,
What's your channel's name?
I'm very hyperactive, so if I talk too much, I'm sorry.
LAZEn, what's your channel's
LAZEn
name?
Blaze.
Okay, cool. So people can go check that out, definitely. And you've got stories on there and stuff?
LAZEn Blaze. Just like my stream.
Perfect.
Yeah, I got a small paranormal list. They're not real detailed, but they give you an idea.
Gotcha.
And like I said, if somebody wanted a more detailed story, I'd be happy to make one. And I plan on actually in the future when I have time. You know how active us old people are.
Right.
So, Project Bluebeam happened between Hanford Nuclear Facility and the Yakima Firing Center, aka also / LP Listening Post Research Center. And I'll get to my Bigfoot story now.
Gotcha.
But Project Bluebeam is what I call it, because it was two twin blue beams.
Oh wow.
Two twin blue beams. Oh my God. And it was in the Christmas season. We were here with some friends that we had staying with us that just moved from Idaho. And we were letting them hang out with us till they figured out what they were doing. And they were my witnesses to the story. I got 3 witnesses, my wife and that couple. 2 blue beams off on the horizon, going straight into the clear sky at night. Huge. They had to be huge because they were so far away. They had to be huge because they were so far away. And these weren't advertising for, the Christmas season downtown. Right. This wasn't anywhere in the desert. Nothing's out there. And they went up in the sky, and then eventually you couldn't see the tip of them but they were huge, and they went way up and out of sight, basically into the atmosphere. Straight up twin. Just imagine like the old Twin Towers in New York, but lights that you could see through going straight up. They had to have been 2 miles wide. I estimate they were 1 mile to 2 miles wide because of the distance on the horizon, which was what am I saying? Maybe 10 miles, and there was the exact same gap between them. So they were tandem blue beams with a gap in between them. Straight up, and it lasted for 15 minutes. I kind of noticed them when I was going to go outside and smoke a cigarette and take a break. It was cold outside, so I came back inside, but I was watching them. Anyway, Bigfoot story.
All right.
The only reason why there's any relevance to that is its location, too. Project Bluebeam. Walla Walla, Washington. I'm young. I'm back in 1986. I just got back from basic training, AIT, from Fort Knox, Kentucky, as an armor crewman specialist. I'm actually camping with my friend who's getting ready to go to boot camp. In the Tucannon Valley. There's a Tucannon River that runs just north of Walla Walla area. It's in the Blue Mountains.
Okay. Yep. Gotcha.
Blue Mountains, just, 20, 30 miles north of Walla Walla.
Mm-hmm.
Bigfoot. I can't say it was Bigfoot. I didn't see anything. It was dark. Okay. But you're going to trip on this story real quick. Everybody will.
All right.
I didn't see him, and I didn't check for footprints after the fact when the daylight came. How long is this stream going to last, sir? May I ask, so I don't tie up all your time? You need other panelists or something?
I would say, if we have a little bit more to the Bigfoot story, that would probably be a good place to end after that. I did have a call come in that I want to
go another minute or so.
Yeah.
A couple minutes.
Sure.
I'll take 2 more minutes.
All right.
Okay. We'll condense it down, but it's a 20-minute story. Me and my friend, he's getting ready to ship off in a couple months to go to basic training. I just got back. I've been home for about a few months. We're taking a break. We're spending a week up in the Canyon River Valley at an actual government forest. Gonna do some fishing and stuff. So we're camping, we're staying, and we're partying, of course. We're young. It's late night. We're just sitting there. Now, mind you, I never go out alone. And in those days, I was more than adequately prepared for anything. We're hanging out partying, late night, clear skies, couple little cotton ball clouds in the air. Beautiful view, the best, west coast, best coast. All of a sudden, this night turned to day in a flash. Okay, I don't know how that's possible because I didn't know about meteors in those days, really. I didn't pay attention. We didn't have video from YouTube of meteors lighting up the whole sky.
Right.
So I'm guessing it was a meteor. The whole sky lit up. I'm seeing shadows of the trees and all the terrain. It's high noon and it's past midnight. Okay, bam, flash is over. It's pitch black again. Immediately, our camp is. I'm hearing all the bushes around us, and it's really bushy and tree around us. We're right next to the river. I could throw a rock and hit the river. The bushes are all just rattling like frickin' crazy, and then the smell came, and I'm hearing snorting, grunting, thumping on the ground. Heavy breathing. I don't know how to describe it. It sounded like a Bigfoot encounter to me, if I was to listen to one to compare it.
Absolutely.
The whole forest came alive right around my camp and campfire. And I'll tell you, the smell, like I put in the comments, took my breath away. It was so pungent. And the only worst smell I've smelt in my life was stir and burn in Saudi Arabia, in Iraq, when I had stir and burn duty. I couldn't breathe hardly. It was the most repulsive, nasty smell. Okay, I'm a logical, critical thinking man. I'm freaking out, of course, because first off, it just turned daylight, and I got a whole bunch of activity around the camp, and it's scary because it's really close, and the whole place smells like I'm standing in a feed farm or whatever. It's like I'm standing on top of a manure farm.
Right. Wow.
And the whole forest came alive. I heard stuff running by me. So I'm guessing it was just the deer or elk, because this is high activity area for wildlife. And they probably got freaked out by the meteor, if that's what it was. I don't know if that's what it was. I'm going to say it was, logically thinking. But why would it be the combination of all that? The night sky turned to day. All of a sudden, activity all around, crazy, like it was just rushing us with the smell. That's my story for that, and I'll let the next panelist come on. And I appreciate your time, sir, and everybody in chat. Have fun. Go to my canopy. Let's check out my stories.
Thank you, LAZEn. It was first off, I know those stories were tough.
I'll get out of here.
Thank you for sharing them, and please don't be a stranger, my friend. I hope to talk to you later.
Okay. Yeah, I subbed up today just a little bit ago, and that's why I don't go outside anymore. It's just go out and throw the kitty litter out, and that's about it.
Makes sense, my friend. Be safe.
Because, well, we had a hot tub here, me and the wife, for like 8 years, and all we did was watch orbs fly by us at night, having fun. Good night, everybody. I'm going to keep watching. Have fun.
All right. Thank you, LAZEn. Be safe. Wow. What an incredible account of orbs and Bigfoot from a very strange area of Washington. Thank you, LAZEn. Let me check the phone here. It's about 10:20 p.m. I think we are still going to keep going. Let me plug in my phone real quick. We're going to keep going. If there's anyone that wants to call in and share their Bigfoot encounter live, and let's, if possible, I would actually request just make sure that you're calling in with a Bigfoot encounter, as there are people where this is the only time where they can ever call in with a Bigfoot encounter. Oh, hold on. All right, I think we've got Do Not Disturb on. And for those that are new, we've got over 200 people here. This is Bigfoot Encounters Live. If you've got a Bigfoot encounter you've experienced, you can go ahead and call on in. You do have to fill out the guest release form, as this is live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And this is recorded to be used in a potential episode future on Bigfoot Society podcast. So you fill out the guest release form, bit.ly/Bigfoot form, and then at the very end, it'll say, thank you for filling out the form. Here's the phone number to call in with. And call that phone number to this phone right here, and we can talk live on the air. So we will we'll give a few minutes to see. Just checking everything real quick. Make sure everything is set up right. Should be. Oh, here's one for me to call back.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hi, is this MG?
Yes, sir, it is. It's Machine Gun.
Yep. Yep. Thank you for I got your you left a voicemail a bit ago. Thank you for calling in. Yeah, I see that you have a few things you would like to share. I'd love to invite you to do that and go right ahead.
Actually, I have a couple of experiences. You know, to most people it would sound like it's crazy, but I'm going to tell you right now. One of you know, originally it happens. You know, you're going camping in the wilderness, but you don't know what the hell is going on, right? You think, okay, you're out there, whatever, blah blah blah. This was 20 years ago, but after the years, when everything, you know, when you connect the dots and all that stuff, then you know what the hell is going on.
Oh, and Machine Gun, if I could just ask, YouTube will come after us if we put a lot of language in there. So if we leave most of that out, that would be great. But continue, sir.
I understand.
Sure, thank you.
Cool. That's cool. Okay. But I'm going to tell you my first experience and then my second, and then that's going to be the end of the discussion.
Sure.
So the first experience, my friends and I, we went camping to, I'm not going to give you the exact coordinates, but it's going to be Tamagami, Ontario, Canada, very far up north in our wilderness over here. And man, it's sorry, I almost swore again. It's very bushy. Let's just say that. So, and we went over there, and then one night we're all sitting around. There's about four of us. We're sitting around a campfire. And then all we hear is, just like how I told the chat about 2 weeks ago in here, all we heard was boom, boom. Those are not, regular booms. Those are gigantic footsteps that you heard hit the ground, two of them. And then all you hear is a gigantic tree breaking in half. Immediately after that. We weren't looking for Bigfoot back then, okay? But we knew exactly what that meant. Not immediately, but later on, we figured it out. And then, this is the scariest part. My buddies and I, about 2 or 3 years later, we went camping again in Tamagami, Ontario. And we went so deep into the wilderness. And we took our boat and we just kept going and going and going until the end of that lake. And we hit what we call Bigfoot Island. But it was actually a point. It's not necessarily an island, but it was a point. And as soon as you stepped onto that point, or what we call island, there was bones everywhere. Of bears, moose, everything, you name it, man. Everything, that entire little, it was a Bigfoot nest. It was filled with bones. No North American animal will do that. A bobcat or whatever you call a wildcat, they will go back and take their prey to a shelter or whatever you call it. But this was an open field with canopy all over the top. This was a true Bigfoot Island, and it was scary as hell. And you know what is the scariest thing? As soon as we arrived there, when we found this so-called island or point, there was a tree, not a big tree, but a partial tree, shoved into the ground, but from bottom up, shoved into the ground, and there was a bear skull shoved on top of that. So that's my experience, and that's what I have to share with you. So that's it.
Wow. That's Bigfoot Island. That's incredible. Thank you for sharing that.
I will give you the coordinates, and if you ever want to go there, we'll go together over there, but I will not ever tell anybody else about that spot. But I will tell you, and we can go together, but nobody else, man.
Sure. Yeah. My email is bigfootsociety@gmail.com. Feel free.
All right, man.
All right.
Hey, and my buddies took pictures of all of these skulls and bones and everything on that island, okay?
Oh, wow.
I'll send them to you. I swear on my father who passed away in 2017, I swear on his death that I will send every picture to you, man. I swear to you.
I appreciate that.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right, my friend. All right, you have a good night.
Thank you for calling.
Care. All right, bye.
There you have it. MG calling in about Bigfoot Island up there in northern Ontario. Wild stuff. Thank you for calling in. I'm guessing I don't have time for commentary. We got another one. Here we go.
Hello.
Hi, this is Jeremiah.
Hey, man, what's up?
Hey, not much. Who's this?
Jody.
Jody, and I saw I missed your call, but thank you for calling. So what do we got going on today, Jody?
Well, been listening to your show for 4 or 5 months, and so it's very, very good show. You got a good show.
Thank you.
And notice you have for the call in, and Bigfoot has been something that I've wanted to believe in since I was a kid, like a lot of people. But you're just not 100% sure until you would see it with your own eyes. And I'm still at that point because I've never actually seen one with my very eyes, so I can never be 100% sure. I might be 99. But, not 100. And I still haven't. But I've had a couple of things that happened a couple of years ago that has all the earmarks of, from what I've heard from other people, would be maybe a Class B or C, encounter. So it started when, it's about 2 years ago, and started hearing a sound where I lived. It sounded like, I don't think I could sound was elk, like a moaning type of bellowing type sound, like an elk. And there's no elk here in Alabama that I know of. And so I got out my recorder to record it. And there was there was coyotes going crazy, crashing off in the distance. And I recorded some really weird sounds. And I went back and let other people hear it, and they're like, well, I don't know what it sounds like. It may sound like this or that, but never heard nothing. Very weird. All right. Fast forward maybe a few weeks later, and I live right next to a pretty good sized creek, and there's a train track that goes probably less than a quarter of a mile from my house down to the creek, and there's a train trestle. And so for exercise one day, it was in June, so it's pretty warm. Walk out from my driveway, go down the road onto the track, and then I walk down to the track, which I've done many, many times, and go down to the train trestle just to sit there, throw rocks, just hang out, whatever. And as I got closer to the train tracks, I could hear like what you would be somebody had some machinery, like a front end loader or backhoes, and you had the beeping noises back and forth, but I couldn't see it from where I was at, but I could hear it in the distance.
There's houses somewhat close, but you couldn't really see the houses, but I could hear the machinery. So I'll go down underneath the train trestle, sit down on the creek bank. And at first I heard whoops intermixed with the sound of the machinery. And I heard it, give it about a couple minutes later, another what I thought was whoops. But then in my mind, I'm like, well, that sounds like whoops I've heard since I've been listening more about Bigfoot. That sounds like a Bigfoot whoop. But, that can't be right. That's obviously, the sound of the machinery groaning or, that's something to do with that. Well, it happened 2 or 3 more times within like a 10 or 15 minute period. Walked down the creek a little ways to listen, and I heard it behind the train trestle going back toward my house again. And this was a little more distinct. And I was still hearing the machinery, but the whoop now was more clear. And it had me puzzled. So I come back up on the bank, and I'm looking back up toward the train trestle, and it's like middle of the day. So underneath the train trestle is, it's shaded in black. And I was looking at the train trestle, and I could see a shadow of what looked like a dog. Like the shadow of a dog had the ears and everything. And in my mind, just quickly, I'm like, well, they're obviously doing some construction, up on the train trestle. And that's just something they've got up there. And the light is shining, the sun is shining, backlighting it. And it just looks like a dog house, a German Shepherd, the shape of a dog head, right underneath the train track. And I just glanced at it for 5 seconds. And in my mind, that's what I thought. Well, I went back didn't give it no more thought. And I'm just looking around. Didn't hear no more whoops. So I just chalked it up. Well, it sounded weird, but obviously that was machinery of some sort. Walked back up on the tracks, started walking back toward my house, and probably about 150 yards, excuse me, as I walked back on the tracks toward my house, then away from the machinery, I've done cleared, no more, I hear it way in the distance. I heard a giant, deep whoop back up my creek, back toward my house. And that, like, whoa, that literally stopped me. And I just had this ears like, for real? Is this really, very, very strange. You want to ask anything from here? Or you want me to keep going?
Absolutely. This is super interesting. Jody, I know you're keeping it vague. Are you able to share like a county that this is in or anything?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in Marion County. Actually, we have 2 Marion counties, but the Marion County I live in is in northwest Marion County, right next to the Luxabalala Creek.
So this is like is this west of Bankhead National Forest?
Yes.
Okay, well, do you know much about Bankhead National Forest?
I've learned a lot in the last couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of Bigfoot activity that goes on in there. I'm not surprised that you are experiencing stuff like you are in that area at all. Wow.
Okay, there's after I stopped. Well, me, I done something kind of silly, I guess you would say. I went off. There's a field between that part and back toward the creek. There's woods on each side of the creek. Then there's this pretty good size 300-400 yard field right there. So I step off the tracks and go through a little tree line and then off into the field towards where I heard the whoop. So in return, sounds stupid, but it's what I did. In return, I did my imitation of an owl.
Okay.
And just, I don't know, just to see. Well, as I'm standing there, well, it dawns on me, well, you've heard this and everything. Well, what if it really is? And it's, what if something comes charging out of that creek through the woodline out in this field? And that's like, scared me. So I turned my butt right around and walked right out of the field, back up on the train track, and started walking home. Okay? And I went then back up the train track, took the left, it goes back on the road, back to my house, and there's woods in between. As I make the curve back to my house, y'all can see the mailbox, and about a little more than 100 yards probably. There's woods to my left and to the right in the road, and then there's my driveway to the house. As I come around the curve, I hear either a tree crashing, branch crashing, or something just, hard. Well, I've got my sunglasses on at that time. I'm walking, and I don't see anything. It's dark in the woods. Then you take your shades off. That time, it's back in there, back in the canopy part, it's dark. Well, I heard the crash, and then I immediately took a couple of steps to go into the woods to investigate. Well, just as I did that, I heard a smaller brush crack or whatever way closer to me, and at the same time I heard that, it was like a huff and a hiss. Ooh. At the same time, noise.
Yep.
And that stopped me. I was like, oh no. Animal, I don't know what, that sounded weird. So I didn't run, but swiftly started walking toward my mailbox of the house. And then I stopped and looked back and did my silly fake alcohol. Nothing else happened. And then I come back. There's one other thing about a month or so later, I had one more incident. And nothing's happened since.
Okay.
But probably a month or so later, now I was aware then, I'm out listening at night. If I can't sleep, go out for a cigarette break. I go outside and just stand at the edge of my yard and just listen. So I've been doing that and trying to see if I could catch any more recordings again. And I'm sitting on the porch, and next to my mailbox, about 10 foot out the driveway, where that section of woods is, I heard something rustling and crashing, not super loud, but I could hear it from my porch. A struggle or a crash or bash of trees. I'm like, whoa, what was that? And some more noises mixed in. Well, about that time that I started hearing more of whatever was going on, my air conditioner kicked on right beside of me. So I couldn't hear what else was going on. So I run inside to get a recorder to come back, maybe there's more, no whatever, to record again. And I didn't hear anything else. So I come back, walk to the edge. There's a little creek right here, just a little ditch actually, on the side of the property here, where I always would stand at night and listen. I go back there to listen, and that's like, straight diagonally back up toward the mailbox of the driveway. And I heard some more crashing further on down, back where I had heard the initial crash the first time as I come back from the train track in that area. So I walked in toward the mailbox to investigate the noises I heard there. And just as I got closing into my mailbox, I got a smell of what I would consider to be something dead mixed with, I heard someone describe a dirty dish rag. It was fat, sour, a dirty dish rag, more like not a skunk, but like a mink. That type of that smell mixed with dead animal and hot like BO, all mixed together. And as I got closer, I thought about that, and I was like, maybe I don't really want to see a Bigfoot. Yeah, immediately after I'd been listening, you know, all these stories, and I heard people, the smells and stuff, I was like, oh no. I just stopped and I said, no. And I went back to my spot and just listened from then on and didn't hear anything else. And so, but other than that, that was 2 years ago. Well, I found a track one time. I forgot about that.
Okay.
I took a picture of it. It was about, I put a dollar bill next to it, and it was 4 imprints, almost like too big for a footprint, but maybe a handprint of some sort. About 10 inches across. And it had 4 indentions and a half indentation on one side. Big print of something. I don't know what that was. So we got that, and then the dog head thing was very freaky, and it didn't hit me till I got back, and I started thinking about that. When I looked back later, I went back the same day, at the same time, back to the same train trestle, went back and stood at the same spot where I was at and looked back up. And that shadow of that head, because I was going to go up there and see something, well, okay, there's whatever they was working on. There's the ears, you know, that's what I saw. There was none of that there. It was the same old train trestle it's always been. And that head looking with that shadow head was not there. And I saw that during the same time as I heard the whoops. Yeah.
You've got some really interesting things going on, Jody, for sure. Definitely.
But nothing that has happened since then. It's just like, was it just something that moving through and then they're moved out of the area, or what?
Have you ever heard other weird sounds in the woods around your house? Stuff that doesn't really fit, or?
Well, I mean, I hear coyotes a lot and owls. Okay. But these owls down here, they can make weird, monkey sounds, but I can see them in the trees, and I know it's owls, you know, and they make weird noises. So it don't even bother me not to hear them. They'll get close to the house. It don't really bother me. Coyotes, I've heard them make weird, but I'm assuming that's mostly coyotes, but I don't know. Bigfoot's supposed to be the king of, mimicking.
Right, exactly. What time? Roger's got a good question. What time of year was it that last happened?
The smell, or the roots, or which part?
Both.
When went to the train track and heard the roots, that was June. And the smell was early. Everything was blooming, and there's a honeysuckle bush right before I get to my mailbox. I remember smelling it before I smelled the bad smell. Okay. So in the summer area, but the sounds I recorded, the really good sounded like an elk, was October.
Oh yeah, perfect.
When I first heard that was October, and then the following spring and summer was the other activity, and then nothing since.
So you have sounds recorded?
Yes.
Are you able to send those through email?
But what I had to record them on is just it's a little, one of those Amazon
gotcha.
fire things. Yep. It's about, there's several clips of it. One is like 15 minutes long, and I'm not that tech savvy. I went to where I can't chop it up. I can't chop it up to get that out, to send it to somebody to do the spectrogram stuff.
Right.
I just don't know how to take that section out and send it to anybody. I probably have to get my 14-year-old nephew to help me figure it out.
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually.
They're weird.
It's funny.
They're very strange. It's a moaning. It's more. It wasn't like scary, like it was like mournful, very sad. It's hard. They don't do it justice, but very like an elk. Only thing I can think of, but not somewhere in that. You know how it's a mournful bellow of some sort, and then that would happen on the other side. And then my recorder ran out, couldn't record anymore. I heard crashing back in the distance, and it sometimes it sounded like a bear at some point in time. There was a struggle going on. Whatever was happening, that was happening, and then off to the side would be the mournful cries going out, and then coyotes, and my dog was cutting up. All the dogs in the neighborhood was just cutting up everywhere during that one night.
Wow. Jody,
But
you
nothing's happened since.
got some really weird stuff that are going on. Even though it's been a while since you last heard it, stuff might still continue to happen. I'd keep an ear out for it, but I appreciate you calling
I
in.
do. Yes, sir. No problem. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely.
Got a good show, Jeremy.
Thank you. And thank you for listening. If anything continues to happen, definitely feel free to reach out, sir.
I sure will.
All right.
Mhm.
We'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Tonight has been absolutely wild. I think that we are probably going to do one more. Let's see. I think I had someone else call in. Yep.
Hello?
Hi, this is Jeremiah.
Hi. Listening to your video right now. I'm Karen.
Hey, Karen. Thanks for calling. What's going on?
Well, since I started listening to your video, I've been inspired to call. Mom's sitting at the table. We eat Greek, more or less, at night, so settling some dinner down for her and listening to your video. Well, Mom's older, and I felt this would be the best advantage I have to tell a witness type of story, and it's real short, but it was rather horrifying at the time about what I consider a Bigfoot encounter. She feels it was just a mountain lion, but the vocal of it spread from one part of the valley to the other, and it lasted about a minute, and it gave me the impression of being at a rock concert with the huge speakers on, and I had no idea what neighbor would have that big of amperage or big of speakers on that late at night during this one hunting season weekend. So, does it sound like a viable story you'd like to
Well,
post?
I'd say it sounds interesting. Are you able to share kind of the area that it happened in?
Central Pennsylvania, and I also saw a video on the Bigfoot Society where they checked out Parker Dam 1 year, but I was unfamiliar with that going on. I've only seen that old video this year on my phone. So this is all belated incidents, and I was more or less an older kid when this happened, and Mom was the cook at camp. And as we walked through the woods, we were coming home on the path, and we had to go up a small hill to the camp, and there was a crossing. It was old tram road, overgrown, and we came by it, and we smelled something like rotten swamp. I recognized it as rotten swamp because I had lived near that a few years before the hunting weekend. And I'd smelled it whenever it would dry up and it would rot. But it was smelled like rotten swamp and poop at the same time. And I thought something as strong as that might be a bear. But as we came to the pathway, the crisscross pathway, just a side path on our way up to camp, we heard some rustling along the path. Well, I always listened because I hunt, and I hear, I can distinguish footsteps. Would it be a deer or something lighter like a bird? Well, this didn't sound like a deer rustling, shuffling the leaves, and at the same time, it was soft. It sounded soft anyways. And being near dusk, Mom started up the hill ahead of me, and I asked her to wait, but I'm being curious. I waited along that path. I wanted to see, or at least sense and listen what was going on. And that footsteps, the soft footsteps, seemed to come towards me more. They paused, and it seemed like they wanted to change direction towards me. And after that, I decided, well, I better get going because I really don't know what that is. So I raced up after her. And when we reached the doorway to the camp, which is up top of the small hill, and the acoustics there, you can hear anything going on in the woods from south to north. It's just a little groove where it must have been strip and cut or something in the day. And when we reached the door, it started as a howl, and then like in an increased volume so bad that it sounded like a rock concert, as loud as a rock concert. And it just echoed and echoed for about a minute. And we stood there and both shaken, and we were talking to each other. What do you think it is? Don't know. And when it stopped, we went into camp, inside the camp, and we asked the guys that was there, did you hear that? No. It was as loud as I would get the impression that somebody would hear it inside the building. Never heard anything like it since. And later on, Mom would figure it was a wildcat. Well, I've listened to wildcat videos, them screeching, and that length of time as well as the sound of a cat, not a house cat, even a wildcat, would not compensate for what we heard there, in my opinion. So do you have a comment? Or
so just the fact that you're saying that it gets so loud that it sounds like a rock concert, that to me is a flag that kind of says, yeah, that doesn't really sound like a mountain lion to me. That sounds like something with a big set of lungs that can make a sound louder than anything you've ever heard in the woods. And
it reminded me of a opera singer, somebody with that much power behind it. And that's the best I can describe it.
Well, can you share what county it is? Do you feel comfortable with that? Or should we just leave it at Central PA?
I could give you a county, but I have, I'd like to share the story, but at the same time, for investigations to go on and things like that, and even DNA collecting, I'm fearful if that's potentially for Bigfoot. You know, in the day I would have been excited. But if these are creatures, they deserve some respect, same as...
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Have you have you reached out to the Pennsylvania Bigfoot Society?
I think once.
Okay.
And that was years after the experience, and I had asked them, I wonder why I never thought of talking to somebody after that. And they figured I was in shock. Shock after all these years.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Well, I'm so glad that you're able to share it finally with others.
I'm glad you're available. Your videos and talks seem clear, and the experience is so numerous. And your guests that you have on there seem logical and intelligent. It's just city folk don't know what mountain men experience. That's a saying, and that's the best way I could sum it up.
Well, we keep getting the accounts out, and eventually people can't keep overlooking it. You know, we keep getting the truth out there, and just hopefully we get the answers one day. You know.
Yes, and I hope for truth and clarity, because I'd hate for it to be a witch hunt or, that type of deal.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Humaneness. I'm looking towards that for any discovery of new life.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's the most that we can hope for. But Karen, thank you so much for calling in and sharing what you experienced that one time. I appreciate it.
Would you like my mother's opinion while she's sitting here? She's my only witness, and seeing how she's a senior.
Sure.
Okay, Mom, would you like to talk to the fellow? This is the people from the Bigfoot Society live. And could you explain what you heard, or what happened when we were
screaming? I heard the screaming and thrashing in the bushes, and I wasn't waiting around to see. I ran.
And how about when we got to the camp door? Do you remember that loud howl or sound, and it echoed across the valley? You don't remember that part? Okay, but you heard the noise in the bushes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, they have it down. You're my witness.
There you go. There you go.
Thank you.
You got it, Karen. Thank you.
And to keep the dialogue going, is it possible to, what's a good number in case something else happens, or, for a Bigfoot sighting or paranormal and things like that?
Do you have email at all, Karen?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So the best way would be if you email me at bigfootsociety@gmail.com, and then I can get you some other info. So that would be a good way to reach out.
And may I have your name again?
Jeremiah.
Just to be clear.
Yeah, Jeremiah.
Thank you for this, and still be listening.
Thank you, Karen.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, that was nice. That was really nice of Karen for calling in. Wow, I think, you know what? It's been quite a night. It's been about 2 hours and 40 minutes. I don't think we have any other calls. I think we made it to the end. Let's double check. But thank you, Karen. Just going to check my email real quick. We're going to do last call. If you have been waiting to try to call in and to share a Bigfoot encounter, you have 5 minutes left to do it. And I'll look through the comments here. Let's see. We got a lot of people hanging out. 290. I appreciate you all being here. Yes, MG. This has been an awesome night. Thank you for calling in, guys. I appreciate y'all being here and being part of Bigfoot Society. I try to do these every Saturday night. Stay tuned about next Saturday. We'll see what's going to happen. I'm actually going to be going out on an expedition, so stay tuned. I'll announce what's going to happen next week. But most Saturday nights, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, is a live call-in show. Bigfoot Encounters call-in show. I don't know of anyone else that's doing it like we are doing it, guys. Make sure you're subscribed to this channel to not miss out on any future episodes from Bigfoot Society. Look up Bigfoot Society on your favorite podcast platform. Make sure you're subscribed there. Also, if you want to go a little bit deeper and join a community, like there's a community starting in the chat here, which is amazing, but we have an awesome way to go further. It's patreon.com/the Bigfoot Society, and a lot of great people in there. We have a good time. Tomorrow is actually tomorrow is our end of the month Google Hangout, where people from the Patreon hang out, have a good time, talk about Bigfoot. And check out patreon.com/the Bigfoot Society. And that's a great way to support the podcast and get an extra episode every Wednesday. All sorts of extra stuff in there. So appreciate you guys checking that out. If you have an encounter and you didn't want to call in live, which is no problem, you can always email me at bigfootsociety@gmail.com. You can help me. Really, any encounter you can share helps us figure out all the info, right? I think that we'll know what's going on in the next 30 years. Make sure, special thanks to Squatch and Holler. Make sure that you follow Roger's channel, Squatch and Holler. He's a hardworking dude. And Bobby, thank you for the reminder. Remember, guys, Memorial Day and all who sacrificed. That's the most important thing about this weekend. But let me double check here. All right, guys, I think we made it through. Do one more check. All right, all. Well, I appreciate you all hanging out. Make sure. Oh, final plug. Richard, when's the next live show? Stay tuned. I will announce it on the channel. Make sure you're subscribed. Northwest Montana here. Do you archive the live call-ins? Yeah, just go to the live section for the channel, and you can listen to them all. But yeah, I'll be at Monster Fest in Canton, Ohio, Sasquatch Summerfest in Oak Ridge, Oregon. You can get half off your tickets with code Bigfoot Society, all caps, 2 words. And I'll be at the Van Meter Visitor Festival this September. So hope to meet you at any of those places. And I will see you next time we do Bigfoot Encounters Live. Hope to see you there. All more than 200 of you. John Boy, you stay safe, sir. And we will see you next time.